But what I look for is something that makes a player different. You can't define the word it, but when players have it.
Right.
And they just have that something special quality about themselves, the way they carry themselves. It's the way they carry themselves on the field with hustle and a air of confidence about themselves. I'm not talking about flamboyant. I'm not talking about a show off or bring the attention to me. There's just certain kids that when they're out there on the baseball field, they carry themselves like a pro. They carry themselves with a different confidence level than other kids do. And I actually like to see a player fail because I want to see what he does if his first two at bats, he didn't have good at bats. I want to see what he does in that third and fourth at bat with the game on the line. I want to see a pitcher that goes to a 3-0 count and whether he just gives up.
Is the high school athlete still going to play an active role with regard to your recruiting or college baseball in general?
Yeah, as long as I'm here, it will. I just like the freshman athlete. I like the development piece of that. And I like kids that really, really want to go to Vanderbilt. When you hear a kid say that's a school I want to go to, then you understand that they've already played out the circumstances of what it looks like academically and athletically. It's something that they're hungry for. And not everyone's hungry for that. And that's fine. But yes, for us, it's finding that person that A, wants to come, and B, is a good fit for the university and good fit for our program.
A lot of times it's the hardest thing to evaluate before they get to campus, and that is the ability to handle, and not just handle, but embrace failure is one of the biggest predictors of success at this level. And oftentimes we don't get a chance to see these guys fail a whole lot before they get in our program. That they've played at a high level in high school, and the guys that transfer in, they've experienced a lot of success. They wouldn't be at Duke if they hadn't had a lot of success. But oftentimes these guys really haven't had to struggle a whole lot, and now they get out on the field with a group of guys that are equally as talented to them. They sit in class with some of the best and brightest from around the world, and all of a sudden they're not the best player on the field anymore. They're not the smartest kid in class anymore. And that can be a little bit of a shock to the system.
I'm definitely not a proponent of playing all year round. I don't think that makes much sense. I can't stand the way it is, the dynamic now. I don't like it. I don't think you need the specificity of training in a baseball manner the entire year. So someone who played 3 sports in high school, I love for our athletes to play different sports. So that would be my first choice, is get yourself and body exposed to different sports and different dialects. But in the same fashion, if they only play baseball, I think there's training that can be involved with that is also important for, functional strength. I'm not going to go into size or mass because I don't necessarily believe in that. I believe in more in functional strength based on the athlete and what type of profile they have. But I definitely think there's too much baseball being played year round.
Evaluating the physical ability is the easy part. That's easy. My wife can go hold the radar gun and click the stopwatch and see who hits the ball the hardest. The hard part is evaluating what's inside and what's between the ears and the character and the makeup, that if it's a good fit for the program and the culture that every program has. That's the tough part, and that takes the most amount of time. And a lot of times just talking to people who know these kids the best and what type of worker they are and what type of teammate they are and their leadership style. Those are all great questions to ask, and all very important for us as coaches to follow up on.
There's 2 rooms in this university that have helped kids get to levels that they never thought they could get to. One of them is the classroom. The second one is the weight room. The weight room, I think, goes without saying. When you start doing things physically and from a fitness standpoint that you've never done before, your self-esteem and your confidence grows. But more than anything, the mind drives the body. And the mind, when you develop the mind and you start to developing mental skill sets that you didn't think you had, then your confidence moves to levels that you've never seen a young man ever before develop.
I just feel like if you can get to know mom and dad really well and see what they're like, and they're good people, typically their son's going to be a good kid. Yeah, I think like the perfect setup is when parents are supportive, they're engaged in the recruiting somewhat. Every coach could tell you a story about how they were recruiting a kid at some point, go to a game and you watch how the parents maybe, how they act at a game, and you're like, oh, I don't know about this one. I don't know if this is going to be worth it. That's definitely something that plays into it. You know, just asking a lot of open-ended questions, seeing what's important to the families, and then by their answers, seeing if that's going to align, you know, what we do here on a daily basis.
For me, it all starts in catch play. I mean, I'll just break it down percentages. I was the son of an engineer, so I learned very kind of structured at points in my life. But
Great.
I asked to, and that helps us in our sport. It's definitely helped me. But you make probably 80 to 90% of every throw in your life on the line, right, in catch play. Are you taking advantage of those throws or are you not, right? Are you taking those throws and bringing them to the bullpen where we'll keep it easy. We'll say it's 80% of the throws you ever make are on the foul line, playing catch with a partner, and then 10% in the bullpen and 10% in the game. Obviously, that catch play component is a lot of kids in high school don't get 35 minutes to play a good game of catch, right? They might have 15 minutes and they just got off the bus and they have 5 minutes. So I think understanding how to play good catch regardless of how much time you have, right? Like those focused reps. So that's where it starts for me.
Sometimes I think that they don't have the instincts for the game because they think the game is so technical, you know, that everything has to go by the numbers and you got to do this and you got to do that. And they don't understand quite as well what it takes to win games, you know, base running, backing up bases, you know, knowing when to try to take an extra base. We're depending so much upon hitting home runs because exit velocity is so important. Yet when you want to win a game, you want that hitter up there with 2 strikes on himself trying to hit the ball to the opposite field and fouling off pitches and making the pitcher work and ultimately winning the battle with a walk or an opposite field base hit.
Talking about our vision and our belief here is that the backbone of our program is built off 4-year high school players. And I think with the portal the way it is, we are not portal heavy from a standpoint of year in, year out, bringing in a lot of portal guys. And we've also been fortunate enough to build a culture here that we're not flooding the portal either with guys exiting and leaving. And so it's a real unique place that we've been able to create here with buy-in from our players, our coaches, our athletic department, and university to really have a great overall student-athlete experience. So that's kind of a snapshot of what we're all about. You know, the portal, the way it is right now, it's amazing how many high talented quality high school players are still available that can kind of fit into the mid-major mold that we've created here.
I think some people think, some of the young players think that, oh, I went to the cage and I lifted weights. You know, I worked on my game today, you know, and it's just like, it's way more than that. I mean, there's a whole part about being mobile and being fast that helps. There's a whole part of game awareness of where you need to be if you're a middle infielder, or where a double cut is, you know, how to be ready, how to get a jump on a ball, whether it's the third base or a center fielder, how to catch, how to steal a strike if you're a catcher, right? How to have fastball command if you're a pitcher. Like all these things are extremely valuable that you can always be working on and always be getting better at.
Everyone, but most people look at velocity as, you know, the key contributor to success, and it certainly helps players at all levels. We know that, but you can have success in different ways. And you know, the big thing that I've always talked to them about is, you know, don't compare yourself to anybody else at your age. The 14U you're playing, the 13U, you don't know how old they are. It doesn't. None of that really matters. What matters is your journey, how you're approaching this game. And this is a marathon. You love baseball. You work at it, you love it, and you want to be good. You're going to be fine. And there's no real parameters on this race. You might not be the best 12-year-old or 13-year-old in the country. You might even be the best 12, 13-year-old on your own team. But when you have that kind of passion for what you're doing, you want to play and you want to get on the field and you want to have an opportunity to perform and fail. I think that's a big thing.